Welcome to the Lucha Lounge with your host, Steve DeMarco. Now some call me Sexy Steve DeMarco. Kind of doing things a little different. If you normally see me on YouTube and you're watching this, again, thanks for viewing. I do appreciate it. But for those that are new, because now I'll be joining the podcast world, I want to welcome you to it, and a little bit about myself. I've been in the wrestling industry since February of 2000, so 16 years is coming up. Been a lifelong fan. Probably my earliest memories were NWA or WCW on TBS Saturday night. Really enjoyed that show. Got to see Clash of the Champions 10 live. Got to see Sting wreck his knee and getting jumped out of the Horseman and whatnot. And then probably almost 10 years later, I was actually performing in that same venue for the NWA Texas Heavyweight Championship in a Texas Death Match against JP Black, where I became victorious. So I've been doing this for 16 years. Like I mentioned, worked a lot at PCW. That's probably where some of you will probably, especially since this is part of the Offshoots Network. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the Offshoots Network. I have Beyond Pod. That's the app that I use to get my podcasts or to listen to my podcast that I like. So you can get the Offshoots Network there. So just search for that. Or again, it'll probably be available in different spots. And for those that are on YouTube, hey, that gives you a chance. If you're not able to see the video, you can always go download. Once you subscribe, you can download the latest episode. Hopefully they'll drop almost within the same amount of time. I tend to try to put these out on Sunday or Monday, and hopefully the podcast will follow. So welcome. I've been in the industry for a while, and lately I've become a producer for Reality of Wrestling, working behind the scenes. Really enjoy it. Kind of a coach, mentor, someone that people can brainstorm with. I'm very excited for what 2016 will bring, which is basically the focus of this video. What better way, or podcast, whichever way you're listening to it. But I thought, hey, as opposed to just talking about my goals for 2016, here are going to be kind of my hopes for it. That'll be kind of the main overall thing. I do tend to look at what's out there as far as what's either on television or what I can get on a network or what I stream. So I tend to talk about a variety of topics, mostly wrestling heavy, but I will talk about movies, comic books, anything that I consume, so to speak, in a week, because I'm going to try to put these out weekly. Now you always hate to kind of dim the mood, so to speak, especially in such a celebratory time. I usually say, hey, it's Sunday Fun Day. I'm enjoying mine. I hope you're enjoying yours. I'm recording this on Saturday, but I thought I would start the show with a brother in the wrestling business, my buddy Greg, DJ Paco Cantu. That's how I have him on my Facebook. His 15-year-old daughter passed recently, and just kind of a senseless act. I think shot in the back seat of a car to leave him. I'm not really sure of all the details, but my heart and thoughts and prayers go out to him. He's going through a tough time. I know that on Facebook he's got a GoFundMe, a link to a GoFundMe account. I would, advise all of you to go check it out. I mean, I know he's going through a terrible time, and my heart and prayers go out to him. I thought about ending the show with that, but I didn't really want to end on that kind of low note. But at the same time, I thought it was important. I mean, I feel for him being a brother in this business. But it's tough to hear of any time a parent loses a child. I don't wish that upon anybody. Man, so much tragedy in the world at all times. It just makes you kind of for me, it makes me appreciate life that much more. I'm thankful and blessed for the days that I have, and for the opportunities that I have, and for the opportunities to talk to you fine folks and talk about the hopes of 2016. Now, I didn't want to do resolutions simply because I'm probably like a lot of people. Those resolutions get broken probably 30 seconds after I even think about them. So it's going to be more about hopes. And again, not just hopes for me, but hopes for the things that I consume. Which brings me to Reality of Wrestling. Like I mentioned, I'm one of the producers for there. I'm very much excited for what 2016 is going to bring. I think, I've been excited about other instances, other things that I felt were special. I've felt Reality Wrestling was special when I first started working with them as talent. Even the concept, I was really behind as soon as I heard about the rebranding. So, I've been there since the PWA days. Life takes its turns and whatnot. When I came back to what was becoming Reality Wrestling, I was very excited about the opportunity, what was going to happen, and I think January 30th is going to really be the mark of a new era. I mean, I know it's the catchphrase on the flyers and whatnot, but nothing's more true than that. We will be, opening to the public, I think, for the first time at that point, if not sooner. But I know on that date we're going to be opening our new headquarters, and it's headquarters is putting it mildly. I mean, we will have a full training facility and also a place to run our shows, a good parking space, good parking area. I think that's important, especially with the amount of people we're hoping to get in that building. We're right by the World's Gym at the Mall of the Mainland. You go to realitywrestling.com and you get more details as far as address and whatnot. But January 30th, I mean, they've already announced one big name and a legend in this business, a guy that I myself, prior to breaking into it, and as I did break into it, a guy that I really idolize in Rob Van Dam, and I cannot wait to see that guy. I think he's doing a meet and greet. I'm not sure about anything else, but again, realitywrestling.com will have further details, and from what I've heard from Booker, he will. This will not be the last guest that is announced. Man, it's pretty good stuff. So with that, normally for those who can get it, I put it this way: it's on YouTube, so anyone can get the episodes of Reality Wrestling, or they could go to realitywrestling.com, where I think they usually will show the latest episode, and then there's a link to the YouTube channel, which I think they have stuff from even before they started on television, so when they were doing internet tapings. But now they are on the CW39 in Houston, but hopefully as 2016 continues and as we progress, hopefully we can expand it. But for the time being, again, you can go to YouTube. I usually talk about or give my takeaways from the last show that aired, so this would have been last Sunday, 11 a.m. for those who do have the CW39. I mean, what better way to wake up on a Sunday morning and enjoy some great wrestling action? And and this show is no different. A really good match between Kid Ransom and Shawn Hendricks. Hendricks with the Legion. Hendricks has had the Legion for about a year, a little bit over a year, maybe about 18 months. And Kid Ransom's a guy who's been with the company since the PWA days. So really good back and forth. Shawn always really impresses me with his physicality, what he can bring, the different angles that he takes on his opponent. and this match was no different. Really action-packed. Of course, having the Legion out there, Kid Ransom gets the win via DQ, I believe. No, I think by DQ. And then there were quite a few promos on the show. A lot of hype for events upcoming. Some highlight packages. But from top to bottom, I really enjoyed them. I mean, I enjoyed Ryan's promo. I always enjoy Ruthless Ryan Davidson's promos. Of course, the Aiden Cristiano's promo I enjoyed as well. I liked his delivery on it. Guy who's formerly of Team International, and they really highlighted that history on this show. Again, the aforementioned Shawn Hendricks, not only a good talent within the ring, but a solid promo outside the ring. You see him with Cedric Payne, who's one of his first lieutenants. I mean, if you're looking at it as an army, but really enjoyed his promo. I really thought the segment with Stevie Ray, the Diamonds Division champion, or Diamonds champion, Ivory Robin, the Black Diamond, as she likes to be referred to, her with Hai Young Young, who at one point was managing a former heavyweight champion in Fallah Bahh of Pro Wrestling Syndicate, I think, or PWS, but now has wanted to branch out and become an actual competitor, so I think they've got a matchup brewing. Really enjoyed Brian Keith's promo. I look at what this kid's become, really coming into his own, and having been television champion. It's almost going to be February will be a year, I think, February 21st. I want to say, don't quote me on that, but his promos continue to impress. I really enjoyed Cameron Cole's promo. I mean, he's a guy who rarely gets time, and so it's great to see a guy developing. I mean, this is kind of the first that you're seeing of a guy, and now he's getting a little bit of success, and he's in this thing with J.J. Blake. And J.J. Blake's a guy that I really enjoy watching in the ring, as well as his promos. So, again, really enjoyed Cameron Cole's thought. I mean, the idea of getting the win but not being happy because it's, he got beat down post victory, which is never fun. So yeah. And then I like Team International's promo. I think preparing for war, you got Gustavo Mendoza, former heavyweight champion. You have Rubio, who's been by his side for the vast majority of Gustavo's career. Then you have X. That really no one knows who X is. He's come onto the scene probably since the inception of Team International. And then you got the big man Parviz. Just a very formidable group. Team International at one point, especially if you go back, which you can on YouTube, you can kind of see the formation of the group and their dominance. At one point, each member, I think minus Parviz, held gold, along with Rex Andrews at the time. He was Sergei Volkov. Very formidable group, and the fact that they're reforming, and the fact that they seem to have some opposition, very interesting. Gotta say, I enjoyed Pump Patrol's promo, and I enjoyed Abel Andrew Jackson's promo. I think his work is top-notch. It's been top-notch since he's kind of evolved into this. I've known him for a long time, and I'm just amazed at the quality of work that he's been bringing in, night in, night out. Every chance that he gets, everything that he does is stellar. And finally, I really enjoyed Gino's promo. Gino's the youngest heavyweight champion at 19. I think a second-generation wrestler. And, so he's got the business in his blood, and he's just such a natural. And he's just getting even more confident, which is hard to believe because he was already confident on his debut. I think he's undefeated, and it's just great, man. His work's great. And then in the main event, you had Q and Ruthless Ryan Davidson. These guys have battled all over the place. Their best of 5 series ended up becoming like a best of 6. Yeah, you'd have to actually watch the episodes to know what I'm talking about, but every match is phenomenal. I could watch these two battle anywhere. And I know for a fact that I think it's been announced that on January 30th, these two will battle it out in a steel cage match, of all things. I don't think I've ever seen these two battle it that I can remember in a cage. In a one-on-one situation. I know Ryan has. I've battled Ryan Davidson in a cage. I want to say that. No, I've never battled Q in a cage, but I have battled Q. Both guys are top notch, probably top guys anywhere and on any roster. I would dare anyone to tell me otherwise. But those two, anytime they lock up, is pretty awesome, and this was no different. Q got the win via DQ. Stevie Ray's out there, so not only does he represent Ruthless Ryan Davidson, but he also represents Ivory Robin. He's kind of a consultant for champions and has been fairly, pretty successful. So yeah, I mean, as far as 2016 goes, man, once that building, that's the hope. Is that building's just gonna put us on a whole different level. The idea of being able to perform and train in the same building, and not only that, but having not just the gym that you may have, but like the World's Gym right next door. And the fact that behind the scenes you've got a guy like Bruce Pritchard, you have Stevie Ray, you have the mind of Booker T. I don't want to tell my own horn, but hey, I'm there. You got Kevin Bernhardt, who's phenomenal at his job, as well as some of the best talent, not just in the state of Texas, I would say anywhere. I would put those guys against anybody. And I think 2016 is going to be another year in which we progress in a positive way and we build our brand. And I'm just excited to be a part of it and very much looking forward to it. So yeah, so that was my little recap of that. So now on to the WWE stuff, or not just WWE, but the mainstream stuff, as far as I can see. Now, typically, I don't critique it in the sense of pick it apart. I'm more of let's take just my takeaways. So the first Raw of 2016, people have complained it's a 3-hour show, viewer fatigue, all that. I'm not that guy. I watch a lot of wrestling, and I don't tire of it. It's one of the few things that I don't tire of. I know that there are shows that I watch that I can become easily distracted with something else. Not that it doesn't happen with wrestling, but a lot of times my attention's very focused on wrestling. I'm not one of those people. I love watching stuff, and I mean, I always agree with what they do, but for the most part, I have faith that they're providing me the best product they can possibly provide me with what they're given or whatnot. So I'm hoping for a very good 2016. It's going to be, I think, a year of transition to some degree. I think a year of what's this era, this next thing, possibly post John Cena or life without John Cena for WWE. It's going to be an interesting time, potentially a life without The Undertaker. I don't foresee that, but again, the possibility's there. I mean, there's going to be, and as NXT progresses, it's going to be real interesting to see what the future brings. But let's get to it. Owens and Neville in a spectacular match, a continuation of stories from as far as these guys have battled a little bit, as far as Neville getting the breakout of the year star, and Owens thinking he should have been, which I've said that I believed Owens should have been, but hey, Neville, I have no problem with that. Having Ambrose on commentary really added something. It added gravity to the thing, and then you had the idea that Neville had beaten Owens in 30 seconds a week prior. So I really was looking forward to this matchup. God, it was just great. Ambrose makes the save post-match and puts Owens through the announce table with the guardrail elbow, which was great. While some matches still showcase video game style take on match psychology, these guys sold quite well, I think. I mean, again, we're in that era, I think, of having to compete with video games, and superhero movies. It's just kind of this thing where you got to amp up the physicality and the action, but I don't think you should lose sight of selling that and bringing the people in, which I'll get into as we progress. But I really enjoyed the match. I thought the high spots were good for what they were. Neville's phenomenal. He's one of those guys who can do stuff that no one else can do. So yeah, it was a sight to behold. Now, on the flip side, you come out of break and I think maybe possibly a video package, and you have Titus defeating Stardust in a solid match with some background. There was some story to it. You had Titus kind of getting into the Star Room, Stardust's lair, so to speak. And I really enjoy Stardust as a character. People can complain about it. I can't, because he's always that character. I got to give it up to him. He is. I tell anybody that's a prime example of a guy who's just protecting kayfabe, so to speak, and not going to be Cody Rhodes. He's Stardust, and I really enjoy Titus, and I think Titus winning was good. What I didn't like was the cold opening. The announcers try to save it, I think, to some degree, but the fact that they're coming in post, not even one person's entrance. It's like they both got jobber entrances. I don't know what that says. If you're trying to build guys, even that little bit would probably have put more emphasis on it. Maybe a little video package to show, a little bit of the, even though it's not physical, the kind of interaction that they've had. I don't know. I wish I wanted a little bit more. Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte in a really good match. Rick accompanied Charlotte. Throwing his jacket at Becky Lynch in disgust was classic. But Becky getting the win was great. Kind of the turnaround on, grabbing the tights, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I like to see these two, and it's good to see Becky in the position that she's in. It's good to, hopefully the people get behind her. So yeah, and as far as like what I've so far, I hope Owens. I'll get into that in a bit. Then you had the Wyatt family attacking Ryback and Big Show, and the Wyatts, I believe, I don't know who entered the Rumble. Maybe they all entered it, which would be a scary thought. Really curious how they could do that, because they could ultimately put the belt on Bray. If you had the Wyatt family, man, who's going to take those guys out? But speaking of Ryback and Big Show, it was a rematch that I did not really want to see. I got why there was a rematch. Actually, I got WWE's rationale, but really, anyway, the Wyatts looked dominant. So I didn't really see the point to the rematch. Well, I guess no, I didn't, because if Big Show, yeah, I don't know, like, he walked out the last match. Like, he ultimately just maybe keep him away until the Rumble. But the idea that they were there just so that the Wyatts could come out and show their dominance, I was okay with. League of Nations, Rusev and Del Rio defeated the Usos in a really good match. It was great to see Del Rio be as motivated as he was, and him and Rusev had this really good chemistry. And I really enjoy watching the Usos, guys who've kind of got some work in during at PWA. So it's good to see those guys be successful. The only thing is, I wish the League of Nations had came out as a group, especially if you're going to play that theme music. Even if they go to the back, or even if it's they all show up on the stage, but that Sheamus has something going on. He's got his title match, so he can't stay out there. Maybe Barrett could have stayed out there, or maybe he just he could have even gone to commentary, maybe. I don't know. I just wanted to get all four members involved, because they should be kind of that close-knit group, especially if they formed the way that they formed. But again, Rusev and Del Rio get the win, and I was good with that. Heath Slater, the social outcast. I was really intrigued, because you get Ziggler's promo that he's going to win the Rumble or make history, and then he loses to Heath Slater. He loses to Heath Slater. Now, you know, he did have Bo Dallas, Adam Rose, and Curtis Axel out there. So there was the distraction. But, it really shocked me. I think it shocked a lot of people. I'm glad to see it. I thought the mic work, post-mic work, every guy got their bit, was good. It was pretty hilarious. The only thing I may have changed, and minor stuff, I mean, it is what it is. Like, let the social outcast be the last thing that's said, and then, because you're going to end with Heath Slater's music anyway, so in that respect, Bo could have said Bo leave during his portion, because each guy got a moment, even though that they were competing for the mic. I don't know, but it was still good. It was good. And then you had Jericho interrupting New Day. Now, great to see Jericho. I was shocked that he was out there. I really enjoy the New Day. I could see Jericho kind of turning heel. I mean, I don't know. The writing, like the fruity, Tutti Fruity Booty, I think. I don't know. Rudy Fruity Booty. I don't know. Whatever. Whether he came up with it or someone came up with it, it was just hard because while from a psychology standpoint it makes sense, but the New Day, yeah, I guess it does make sense because the New Day are traditional heels. Even though they say stuff that's entertaining, that's where a guy like Jericho could come in. It was shocking because you just didn't expect it. He's going to enter the Rumble. I'm glad to see him back. The New Day got the win, defeating Kalisto and the Dudley Boys in a really good match. Now for the main event. Roman defeated Sheamus. Vince McMahon was the special guest referee. I really loved Vince's ref work. Yes, he's a 70-year-old man. He still looks jacked. I got a kick out of him. I would tell any referees doing television, just watch what he does. He reacts to everything. You get more in the match because he's invested. And while a referee typically is not supposed to be seen except for administering 3 count in some people's mind, my mind is they need to be authoritative. But the fact that he really wasn't in the way, he was in the back row where he needed to be, but he still played his role phenomenally. And it was great to see Roman getting the win. You had a couple of ref bumps. It was a big, hard-fought battle. I give those two guys, my hat's off to both guys. And then the shocking, I think Solid Monster had said it. There were maybe some that would have assumed that was a potential idea. Was the idea of the WWE title being up for grabs at the Royal Rumble, which would pay homage to, I believe, the 92 Rumble, which is, many people would argue is the best Rumble that's ever been. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some. That one's pretty good. I always love the Rumbles. I think they can be well done. Some of the stories that they tell and the surprises, especially this year potentially. But the idea that the title is up for grabs, so to speak. Roman's the champion. Maybe he comes in at number 1. I would assume he comes in at number 1. They could do a shocking. Someone drops it. It could be Roman drops it. Maybe he gets a rematch, at Fastlane or whatnot. Or he keeps it and he fights the odds. It's going to be really interesting to see. I'm going to see it. I would say anyone who doesn't have the network, look, you can sign up now and you don't have to pay a damn dime and you can see the Rumble. I watch all the special events. I really think the network's a good investment just for the shows that they have. Speaking of shows, Breaking Ground had its season finale. I can hear some people's complaints about it, that it further exposes the business. Well, the truth is that it's really about the rules you define. I think what people lose sight of is WWE is one interpretation of what the wrestling industry is. They're just one interpretation. And it's their interpretation. Now, for some, they are synonymous with what professional wrestling is. You say professional wrestling, people still go WWE. I don't know if anyone you say professional wrestling and they go NJPW. You know, you ask almost anyone, even wrestling, and they'll say WWE. So, with that said, they can set their own rules, and if they choose to want to further expose the industry or further expose their product, that's their thing. Vince has been doing it for years. This is just another way of doing it, and reality-based stuff is good. But I know there's still ways to blur the lines, and I really enjoyed the Breaking Ground series. I hope that there's a Breaking Ground a second season, because you would like to see how guys progress, especially if they've got some new signees and whatnot. But with that said, I really enjoyed the series or the season. This season, it was good to see Tyler Breeze getting called up and kind of his story from. Some people complain about it because it's, well, you want the character of what Tyler Breeze is, but the truth is, you only have so many people that do actually have the network or do watch these shows, so it's not exposing it to everyone. It's not like they're putting it out on the network, although, on USA. However, they do have a thing like Total Divas, which is a form of reality. So yeah, I really enjoyed the show, that show, and I enjoy, Swerved and a few others. I do like when they think outside the box. I'm curious. I've heard the rumblings of like a WWE Kids or NXT Kids or something like that. Again, another way of using the product to further push it. It's very interesting. I was a fan of Saturday Morning Slam, actually, especially those early episodes. So on Tuesday, the rumors that AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Carl Anderson, and Doc Gallows gave notice to NJPW and may have signed with WWE. And then there were further rumors. Oh, WWE bought the Bullet Club logo, or bought bought that trademark so that they could have it. Although now they have the Balor Club, so again, they've already got something. And they could always call it something else, club. Let's face it, if they really wanted to do something like that. Triple H kind of denies the comment, but again, where there's smoke, sometimes there's fire. I, for one, I wouldn't be alone in this, seeing those four, especially 3 members of the Bullet Club, potentially joining Finn Balor at NXT would be phenomenal, or on the main roster, that would be pretty great. And Nakamura, man, to see that guy, and if he can do what he's doing, what he was doing at NJPW in an environment such as NXT or WWE, would be again phenomenal to see. And I'm so happy for Styles if he does sign with WWE, regardless of where he goes to, because I think I think he would be aware of it's the opportunity, and I think he would make the most of it. I think all these guys would make the most of it. But until it actually happens, we shall see. I'm not going to comment until they're actually on my screen. And I can go, oh, there they are. So, Impact premiered on Pop. Now, they left Destination America. Most of last year was about, are they going to stay on Destination America? And there was more concern over that than over what was actually appearing in front of your television screen. I, for one, liked the World Title Series. I was okay with it. I don't care how it, that EC3 ended up with the title at the end of the night. I thought it was fine for me. It gave us some good wrestling action, matches that mattered, and on the flip side, it made the title more important, and it also helped them because they were just filming matches. Maybe they had some ideas of where they were going to go with it. I'm sure they did. Of course, apparently they retaped the finals, but it is what it is. So, some takeaways. Really solid opener, although I would have probably had the title on a podium of some sort to show how important it is, other than it just being held up by Dixie. I mean, again, how hard is it to get like a podium and just put it on there? It's all about presentation. I got the story even if I hadn't been watching, though, and it was good effort by everyone. I really enjoyed EC3 versus Lashley. EC3 getting the win. Pretty awesome promo from Angle. Picking Drew Galloway was cool. The farewell tour was an interesting take. And then Jesse Goddard and Eli Drake both interrupted different, at separate times, but ended up interrupting. And there would be an impromptu tag match between Galloway and Angle against Goddard's and Drake at their one night only pay-per-view, which again may have been shot ahead of time. But it's going to be interesting to see Angle and Drew Galloway, and interesting that Kurt is doing a farewell tour. Kudos to him. I really liked Young and Hardy. Sick pile driver on the outside. I think that should have been the end almost, but yeah. Pope said Matt Hardy may not die, but he's pretty close. That was a pretty good little tidbit. Promo, commentary-wise, Pope had some good gems as far as that goes, and it was a great ending. Great post stuff with Young, Jeff Hardy, and EC3 with Tyrus. Really solid match between Rude and Bram. It was a King of the Mountain Open Challenge, which Rude won. Post-match, Eric Young and Bram attack Rude. Then James Storm makes the save. James, who was on NXT, and people were doubting what was going to happen. They were curious if he was going to sign. And then you hear different reports, but the truth is, I guess he's back with TNA, and him and Rude reforming Beer Money. It's going to be interesting. While I'm a big fan of Beer Money, you wonder where that could potentially go. I wish the best for both guys because I'm a fan of both guys. Seen Storm since early on in his career, same thing with Rude, so it's good to see their maturation and evolution. But again, I think that matchup was made for their one-night-only pay-per-view. Next was, I was really impressed with Gail Kim and Jade's work in the Sixth Woman. I thought Madison Rayne held herself, held her own, and I thought Marty did a pretty good job. But I was really impressed with Jade and Gail Kim. Yeah, really impressed with them. Let's see. Great seeing Awesome Kong. I thought she was, retiring. I guess not. And then she turned and joined the Dollhouse, or as Pope put it, the Kong House. I like that. If they sell a shirt, I probably would get it. It's just interesting, the closing shot with the Dollhouse. Minus Taryn, so awesome that they brought in like an Awesome Kong who's not a talker, so it allows the other women to be the talkers, or allows Rebel to be the talker, and then Marty and Jade to be like the workhorses. Especially Jade, man, I'm really impressed with her work. The last few times that I've seen her in the ring, she's really solid. I thought it was a great debut by Maria and the Miracle Mike Bennett. My girlfriend was actually, I was watching it, my girlfriend actually, Samantha, was you kind of half watching, and she was like, he doesn't look like Jesus Christ, because I guess but I was like, well, maybe he's the modern day Jesus Christ, whatever. I really liked the mic work between the two, especially Maria's. Yeah, I'm eager to see. Now, I think they were also on the pay-per-view. Part of me wishes that they would have held off on him. Like, if you're going to have a guy debut on a pay-per-view, I don't know. But, I guess debuting on a pay-per-view, especially if he gets the win, then, which I'm sure he did. Good stuff. I really enjoyed Matt Hardy versus EC3 for the title. Thought the finish was great. I think EC3 is a great representative of the Now, I've heard some of the spoilers, but I'm not going to comment on them until this. For this, I was okay with it. Now, a couple things. Only a couple of promos to hype their pay-per-view, which was set for Friday. Not the best thing. They could have probably hyped it up a little bit more, especially if you want people to tune into it. Also, there really wasn't a cliffhanger. I mean, I guess you're going to tune in for Galloway and Angle, but maybe have made mention of it, like but I know they wanted the money shot, and that's the closing. They wanted EC3 holding the title, and having won the way he won, I think was pretty great. So congratulations. And then, as if the internet didn't break enough with the report on Tuesday, I think it broke with the report a couple of days later, on the right prior to the SmackDown taping or airing. They announced that John Cena would be having shoulder surgery for torn rotator cuff and would be out 6 to 9 months. Wow. Now, John is a freak, but Father Time is undefeated, so it's interesting to see what happens, how quickly he'll bounce back, and at the same time, while it is a blow for this company, that you're not going to have, in some capacity, maybe you do have John Cena coming out at Mania, maybe to announce something, maybe to make an announcement or something like that. I think you have to have him on the show in some capacity, if possible, because he's one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star for that company, and on the biggest show. Man, I mean, to not have Seth Rollins, that's a blow. Not have John Cena, wow, that's tough. Not to have Austin potentially not being a physical guy. Hopefully, he's going to host the event or something to that effect. That would be interesting. Just having he has control of the show for the 3 or 4 hours. That's enough. You can have multiple showings of Austin just coming out and wreaking havoc. Anyway, I can't wait for WrestleMania, and it's nowhere near. We don't even know what's going to happen. But I hope for a speedy recovery, or just a solid recovery for John. I mean, he's again had a phenomenal 2015. The U.S. Open Challenge was great, and it's tough. Regardless of what people think of the guy, I've always respected his abilities and his work in and out of the ring, and he's only doing what creative gives him. For the most part, I don't think he's one of those guys that's politicking. He may give his input here and there, but tough blow, man, tough blow. Now, takeaways from SmackDown, not really debuting, they've been on the USA Network before, but now Thursday nights officially, right off the bat, having Mauro Ranallo with a heelish Jerry the King Lawler and Byron Saxton, kind of playing the straight man, works. I think, I hear people, but Mauro, man, phenomenal job. I think if he does the play-by-play, and Byron's the social media, like anytime any social media stuff needs to get brought up, he's the social media guy. And then Jerry is the veteran who is just, he's pro WWE and all about it, but he's all, kind of heelish, but he's Jerry the King Lawler. I think it'll work because you allow Mauro to do what he does really well, which is just to tell stories of those matches and give gravity to the matches. I think the way he called it was great. And depending on what they do with Raw, you could almost do something similar. Cole becomes the straight, like the play-by-play guy. You have Byron be the social, if he's still the commentator, you have him, be the social media guy, and then you have JBL in that Jerry the King Lawler role. So it'd be similar, but yeah, I like the calls. Cena takes off his shirt during the first match and gets his chance in the midst of a pretty good Kalisto versus Del Rio match, which led directly to the finish. Good distraction. It was immediately following the Cena chant, which Del Rio turned to the a CCC chant that he lost to Kalisto. Great win for Kalisto. And obviously they apparently Cena's injury's been an ongoing thing, so they were aware of it. And good use of Kalisto with another guy being Sin Cara being out with injury for who knows how long. This is a good use of Kalisto, and I think it'll, a good back and forth matchup with him and Del Rio is going to work, especially if you throw in like the League of Nations stuff. I think it could be something pretty interesting and a good way of elevating a guy like Kalisto. So when Sin Cara comes back, the Lucha Dragons will be that much further up the card. Miz TV, who did interrupt? New Day, Ziggler, Goldust, Neville, R-Truth interrupted. He wanted to accept Del Rio's U.S. Open Challenge. I really love R-Truth and what he does. I love what they have him doing. Just the my bad and the reactions of all the other talent. I was cool with Xavier eating popcorn during the art, as things got heated. Turned into an 8-man. I real like little stuff. Miz is with the New Day. The New Day is putting heat on Neville, and you got Miz like coaching Neville, directing him, so to speak, which I found I really liked. And then to have Miz trying to start off the dance, and New Day at first kind of giving him the look, and then screw it, let's all join in the fun. It was great. I really enjoy New Day, and anyone who plays off of them, it's always great. And so I thought that was priceless. Ziggler gets the win for his group, and then he turns on his partners. He turns on, he super kicks R-Truth, and then he throws out Goldust and says every man for himself, which is true, very true. And this is more than likely, some of the guys are going to be in the Rumble in just a few weeks. Really enjoyed Lynch and Charlotte. Charlotte with Ric Flair. She uses the ropes to get the win. And, she was full on heel on Raw, so it was great to see her further that along and having Rick out there. I think it works for me. It works for me. Because now Rick can be kind of heelish, be heelish with her, and it really works. And plus, it seems like Lynch and Charlotte's feud's not going to end, especially with Sasha potentially being out for a little bit, and Natty coming back from injury, and I'm not sure where Paige is, but I really liked that match. And then I really liked Kevin Owens' 1-minute interview with Renee Young was damn good. The idea of looking at the watch and after every little statement, looking at the watch again, I thought it was really good. And I gotta say, Ambrose's promo was great as well. Owens and Ambrose ended in a double countout. I thought it was really awesome. I think those two worked really well together. And obviously that feud's not going to end. Probably may end or continue past the Rumble. But I for one am a big fan of what I've been seeing with them. So before I get into the other stuff, my hopes for WWE is that they take this time without John, without Seth, and they just build everyone that they can possibly build. They go to all the talent and say, the time is now, and the talent should see it that way. The time is now to make everything as great as it can be, and hopefully creative and the visionary can see that and allow those guys to be creative. Because when you allow certain talent to be creative, you get a thing like the New Day. Guys going for something, going for broke and coming up with something really awesome. Or you let Kevin Owens do what he's done probably since he started his wrestling career, as far as just being who he is. I'm eager to see what the future holds for all of them. I do hope the Divas Revolution continues, and it continues to do well, and the talent continues to develop, and the matchups continue to work. And I'm very intrigued by potentially what happens with the potential of those NJPW guys, or who else they may potentially sign. I'd like to see what they do with Bayley on NXT, as well as Gable and Jordan, as well as Enzo and Kaz. I mean, there's such a great slew of talent. Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. The list goes on and on of talented people within that brand. But I'm very eager to see what they would do with Bayley, because I think she can translate on any platform. I think what she's doing at NXT is phenomenal, from not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. But I'd be really intrigued to see what kind of reaction a babyface Bayley could get against like a heel Charlotte, or even a heel Sasha. Like, maybe they could rekindle that magic that they had at Brooklyn, or at Full Sail for that Iron Woman match. But I digress. I was really intrigued by both, and really enjoyed both shows this week. And as far as TNA, they're on Pop Network. I wish them the best. The debut show was just that. I was okay with it. I could have wanted a little bit more here and there, a little more prestige, but I don't know. You hold out hope that they're going to get it right. They've got at least, hopefully, another year of television to really solidify themselves. And again, they're still around, so that says something. Outside of that, let's see. I'm trying to catch up on NJPW. I have, at this point, I think I have 14 or 15 episodes on my DVR, so I'd really like to clear those out. But I did catch a few shows. I have shows from back in August on the Access TV network. A couple were Nakamura and Okada from the 2014 G1 Climax Final. It was a masterpiece. It was the entire episode, the pre and the post, the idea that these two guys are friends, that they team up. You felt the respect between the two, especially after the match, in which Okada picked up the victory. Nakamura, man, just continues to impress me, as well as does Okada. Another match that I saw probably a couple of weeks later, as far as air times go, was, and it was an excellent match, was between Shibata and Tanahashi. I think it was their third match against each other since Shibata's return. There's a lot of history there, a lot of bad blood between the two, and just the handshake at the end, and the heartfelt back and forth, and the respect. Man, it was just, didn't really know a lot outside of what Morrow and Bennett were saying. Bennett. I think it's Bennett. What the commentators were putting over as far as the story goes, they really did an excellent job, but the match itself really told a phenomenal story, and I was really impressed by it. So, other hopes for 2016 as I wrap up, I would like to stick with DDP Yoga. Now, 2015 was a year of transition for me, so to speak. I mean, 2014 was kind of that way as well, but 2015 was truly like transitioning to being on the other side completely. Not to say that I won't wrestle again, because there's always potential there. I have enough respect for the business to not just say I'm retired. But at the same time, I mean, it would really depend on what was offered, and you can take that for what it is. But I don't know. So with that, I had a lot more off days than on days as far as training. I was going through some physical stuff which I had to take care of, and I kind of be sporadic with DDPY or DDP Yoga. And I know they're trying to transition, I think, the brand from DDP Yoga to DDPY. That way, it's open to everyone. No one can get the preconceived ideas of what a yoga program is. Because for me, what works for me is that it does feel like it's a workout for wrestlers, as far as like from a just from a stretching and cardiovascular low impact scenario, I think I will always preach its positives, because it's really helped me out. But again, being sporadic with it, having done a lot of the workouts here and there, really trying to decide, what would be best. And I actually subscribed and downloaded the DDP Yoga Now app. I think it's on iTunes, and I know it's on the Google Play or for Android. I know it's I think you get like a trial time, which is free, and then it'll cost you so much a month, or you can pay for a couple of months or 3 months or a year. I paid for a year worth. I think it came out to a little over $100, but for 12 months, can't beat it. I've liked it so far. Streaming really works well off my phone, really works well with my Bluetooth. I hope to get like some kind of fitness gadget in the coming weeks to kind of monitor my heart rate and stuff. I don't really do that normally, but I'm going to really try to look at that moving forward. But my hope's to stick with it. And after I've gone through maybe one of their programs, I'll give in a few weeks, maybe a couple months, once I've gone through the 13 weeks. I've had it for about a month, so once I go through the 13 weeks, maybe I can give an assessment of the app as far as I see it so far. But my hope's to be consistent with it. As of late, I've been consistent with it. I want to eat healthier. With the dips in training and motivation over the past 2015, my diet's been good and bad. But I just want to be more mindful of my diet and what I'm eating. My weight's fluctuated. Probably 2013, I was at a really good weight, and part of most of 2014. But then 2015, it was kind of fell off, so I put on some pounds. So my goal is to get to 220 by year's end. I'm not going to really give myself like a time frame, but I think if I eat right, I've got about 25 pounds to go. So there gives you the idea. But I know yoga and eating healthier, DDPY and eating healthy, is going to be really paramount to me sticking to that. I'd also like to debut and maintain a consistent YouTube and podcast schedule for the year. Last year was better. I think I put out 20, maybe 30 videos over the years, so I was pretty consistent. I'll get into the podcasting part, or why I chose to start doing podcasts next week. But I am. Hopefully once this comes out, or if you're hearing this, then obviously I've achieved that goal. I've been wanting to do podcasts for a couple of years, been on YouTube for a while, so I'm kind of living that, achieving that goal, and that hope is becoming fulfilled. But want to maintain a pretty consistent schedule, hopefully once a week. Hopefully there's not more than a week break between videos, but I'll keep everyone appraised of stuff. So with that, hopefully that builds the Steve DeMarco brand, or the Lucha Lounge brand. I'm eager to see what the year brings. Got a lot of hopes. With that, I obviously, as much as I like talking about the products and whatnot, it would be great to get back into conversations with people. So I did that in 2014. I have like a slew of interviews with people that I just wanted to, sit down with and converse with. And in part, that's why I want to do a podcast more, so I could do some more of those. So I want to do some conversation stuff. Hopefully we'll be scheduling some of those in the very near future. And we can kind of go from there. Speaking of podcast, I actually, last night, I recorded with Romeo Falcone, a friend of mine, for his Geeks and Wrestling podcast. So we recorded it. I'm not sure when it's going to air. It could air in a month or so. I know he's got some guests lined up. It's a fairly new podcast. But I know that we're talking about potentially doing some reviews, like movie reviews for his podcast, which I think we may do Deadpool. I'm not sure yet. But if we do, I would definitely let you guys know about that and how it went. And I'll probably have him a guest on my show. He came to my place, so he got to see kind of, got to see my apartment. So I know his man cave's kind of a place of geekdom. So I'm kind of eager to see what that looks like. But I would definitely like to do more of a conversation series moving forward. So I'll keep everybody updated on that. I also like to get in the ring more, just train more. Did it a few times last year or 2015, but with me being around and especially once the new venue opens, I'm sure I'm going to be there probably more often. I have started to come to the school more often, and that's kind of increased the attraction of getting in the ring, but we shall see if that happens. So yeah, I also, hopefully by year's end or by 2017, I would like to sleeve up this arm. I have an idea. I'm going to work with my buddy Alan to come up with something for it. I have something in mind, but we're gonna discuss it. But hopefully by the end of 2016, I'll have this whole arm done. I'm pretty excited about that. That's the hope. And finally, I want to clear out my DVR. My DVR has got some stuff from early 2015. I really want to clear it out. So yeah, yep, pretty close. I just want to say thank you all for taking the time out of your lives, whether you're watching me, which thank you all those that have supported me for these amount of years, which I'll get into as we progress, as we continue on this journey. And to the new people, the people that are listening to the Lucha Lounge podcast and listen to me for the very first time, I appreciate you taking the time to download this episode. And irregardless of what you're doing, hey, it should be music to your ear holes. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them my way. I am always willing to answer. If there are any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to send them my way. You can reach me on Facebook. Just look for Steve DeMarco. Also on Twitter, it's Steve_DE_Marco. Or if you're watching it on YouTube, feel free to leave me a comment, or if you go on my fan page on Facebook, or you can Google me. I'm sure there's ways to find me. I am around and not hard to find. But again, I appreciate everyone taking the time. I always like to end these by saying stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being supportive, being my friend. Just being a part of my life's journey. And since you already are all that. Until the next time, later.